Hello, my name is Giga, and I have a video, or rather a game today, to analyze. It's been a while since I've done these, and I'm sorry for that. I've been very busy. I work two jobs. Uh, I go outside a lot. I know as hard as it is to believe, I go outside, just like all of you. I play basketball a lot. It occupies my time. Anyway, okay. So this game was played. How long? This game was played on July 1st, 2016. The setup is back to night school, or B2NS, dawn start. And I like, um, well, I used to hate the setup actually. Um, in fact, I hated it so much that at one point it made me consider leaving the website because of how bad people played it. It was new at the time. It's still relatively new. It was made in March 6th of this year, 2016. And I'm not a top player on it, but I think I used to be. Regardless, okay, so because it's Dawn Star, obviously there's no actions on either side. No dock, no cop, no hooker actions will take place. No kill actions will take place because of Dawn Start. So the reason I chose to analyze this game is because it demonstrates two things. The first thing that I'd like to demonstrate is aggressive Mafia play, like ultra aggressive, manipulative, uh, fear-inducing, or rather, controlling via fear tactic of scaring opponents. And the second thing I want to show is how you can overcome it, and how to look for it, know when it's there, and effectively lynch those Mafia doing it. So, firstly, this setup is a no claims day one setup, so it's just a scum hunt right from the start. Neither power roll, cop or doctor should be claiming unless they're being lynched. It's detrimental to the town's success because of the hooker. If the cop claims, then they will never get a report as long as the hooker lives. If the Mafia know what they're doing, because obviously the hooker will hook the cop. Not rocket science. However, the first round which I played the setup, um, it was quite bizarre. Almost every single day one, either a no lynched was forced, a power roll was lynched, both power rolls were outed, and one of them got lynched somehow, even though some were uncc'd, like just inexplicable things that you don't expect. Um, I mean, to happen in a game, like why would an uncc'd power roll ever be lynched on a scum hunting setup? Now, I have a few theories for this. Firstly, I think just because people think that it's just Mafia claiming and that the real one is hiding, this is almost never the case. If anything, villagers that CC uncc'd power rolls that are actually real end up getting lynched on day 2 or day 3 because they made themselves confirmed Mafia. And honestly, I had another game I wanted to show that, like that I wanted to display an example of, but I wasn't able to find it. Maybe I can find one after if I still have time. Uh, okay, so back onto the game now that we have the background knowledge and we know what happens in the setup. We can evaluate the game, and I can show what I wanted to show. So, the length of the night. I don't know what it was because there's no pregame timestamp as a reference. So you can say roughly it was somewhat fast, I suppose. I mean, usually it takes a minute to fill a game. Game starts at about 2:11, so fairly fast. And the comments say it's fast. So what I do right away is, and this is always a good idea as town, is to make sure that people know what they're doing. Like, if you don't tell people that you haven't seen play the setup before, maybe they're inexperienced, then who knows what they might screw it up right from the start. They might claim or do the least optimal behavior or action possible. In this case, the least optimal thing to happen is for the power roles to claim. So I said no one claims. Now this is obviously a null statement. Um, so it's good to do as town or mafia, just to also set yourself on the right foot, make people know that you know what you're doing, and that if necessary you're able to lead. But don't be over aggressive, because you might end up getting lynched, as happened to this guy down here, and we'll get to that in a minute. So now this game was played about 2 weeks ago, so even though I haven't played too much since then, I don't really remember exactly what happened. So I'm just going to give it a read, because this is my first time reading it actually, since I PM'd it to myself 2 weeks ago, knowing that I wanted to record it, an analysis of it. So So I'm going to focus on propensity, because this was the person that I ended up lynching today. I did end up getting outed in this game, I remember, because there were votes on me. So I ended up getting the hammer. And I did hammer propensity. So if you look at propensity's game, firstly, this is not like it's kind of stupid, but like then again, a lot of towns do stupid things just because of the YOLO mentality, and it's for fun and stuff like that. But just letting someone lead for no reason and giving a statement like, if he lynches wrong, then we lynch him tomorrow. It's kind of a power move, trying to establish something that makes you townier. If the person that you're talking about is wrong or right, you look towny, because either way you're going to be right. If he lynches wrong, then you lynch him tomorrow. Okay, then you can pin the blame on someone else, even though you either win or lose from either alignment. But if he lynches right, then you look good, because you say this person should lead, and then it makes you, like, quote unquote, look townier. It shouldn't, but to a lot of people it does, because they don't really pay attention, and later in the game you can use the statement in order to make yourself look townier, due to people's inability to read a text-based game, which I still will never wrap my head around. Anyway, so, okay, the game continues. Solution, I don't know how to pronounce this. Solutions. I'm just gonna call it solutions. It's easier that way for me. So the solutions looks towny-ish. Doesn't seem to care too much, but is still paying attention to the game and outing that game-related material, I suppose. Now, propensity is asking for hammer for no real reason at this point. They're kind of pushing people around, giving statements that are complete and utter BS. There's no evidence to suggest that the reason why Solutions doesn't want to lead is because he's being forced to bust his partner. At this point in the game, we're only 2 minutes and 40 seconds in. There's no real reason to suggest this. I mean, what has Solutions done? Barely anything. Who is Propensity talking about? Propensity is talking about... no idea, honestly. So that makes it even more bullshit. Yo-Yo 200-900, who is usually a wild card type of player in my experience, is pointing this out. Giving the falls on Zolfo, which I actually, I'd agree with it. Although the game's still pretty young at this point. It's a questionable opening at best. There's not much to follow up with. The opening was late as well. It was 27 seconds into the day at least. So Yo-Yo's pause, it's understandable. It's just early for me. I personally wouldn't throw it out there. Like, is Moth? Strong statement. Something like a light FOS or FOS would be definitely more in my book, or in my... That's how I play it if I was Yo-Yo, but I'm not Yo-Yo. So, Zolfo does react. At this point, I was voting... What was I voting? I was voting Propensity. I did not like Propensity trying to lead. Like, look at this. I lead. I don't ask for claim over hammer. I say I'm not selfing. He's like, I don't care. So he's just trying to be like totalitarian dictatorship style of play. I don't agree with this style of play for multiple reasons. One, this person isn't clear. They haven't done anything to establish themselves as clear, or town for that matter. Two, they're being overly aggressive. Three, they've stated simply just a ton of bullshit so far in less than 4 minutes of game time at this point. So it's just really a pain in the ass to deal with. It's a pain in the ass to try and read. Applying pressure backwards, so like making them try and doing something is try and force themselves into either a bigger hole or into demonstrating their towniness is in the best interests here. Now, as town, they might force themselves into a bigger hole, but reading for ingenuity is also something that helps to counter this if this happens. So, in order to increase your winning chances, you can find if they're town or mafia by reading their ingenuity, even if they dig themselves on what would be bigger holes. Such as ways to do this or to read ingenuity is through appeal to emotion or ATE, by evaluating logic, by further I guess asking them questions about why they're saying what they're saying, and if it seems like it could add up, then sometimes you give the benefit of the doubt, sometimes you don't. It depends on some of your other reads as well. At this point, I don't have too many. I really only have a town read on scum read on propensity. I'm trying to get this guy to stop because I feel like if I don't, then these people might be, no offense to any of these players, many players are overrun by power aggressive mafia strategies such as the one Propensity is utilizing right here in this game. But I feel like they might be intimidated or induced by it, and I feel like Propensity might get away with basically murdering, getting away with doing whatever he wants if I don't try and stop this. So I figure since I'm a power roll, I have that to fall back on if pressure goes on to me when I'm trying to do this. So and the thing is, many towns that don't read too much or notice the bullshit that's happening, they'll agree with the mafia who's being power aggressive. And if you're with a weaker table, this can be a good strategy. It depends on obviously the players you're playing with, the setup and the situation, but you can see that it does end up working for a moment. Votes pile on me. I only get a few, but I do claim. The reason I claim is because I'm pretty sure at this point this person is mafia. They're just bullshitting, and they're just when someone's repeating something over and over again, generally they're mafia, or they're just trying to get control of the village. It can be either or. At this point, the spamming the same thing over and over, combined with the amount of bullshit that Propensity has spewed throughout the day, is giving me a pretty confident read, and I'm ready to get out and get it done. I'm ready to take control, and I'm ready to do what I need to do. Even though me outing here at this point isn't fully mechanically optimal, as I explained earlier, I'm sure enough in my read and in my abilities to make reads and to get things done by hammering that I just decided this is the time. It's 7 minutes into the day. There's not that much time left before we decide to lynch. There's not too much else going on other than the tension between me and Propensity, so I decided this is a good time to happen. Propensity counters with real cop don't out, real cop don't out. There's no reason for the real cop to hide at this point. I've claimed with 2 votes on me. Now I say this is Mafia. Vote him. Lynch Propensity. Before I go on, I just want to tie up my earlier point about town being induced by power mafia. It's either through fear, lack of reading, lack of comprehension, lack of recognition of what's going on, or a combination of any of those factors. Or it could be something else as well. I don't know. But like power mafia strategies generally work against weaker players, and this has been my experience through 5 years on this website almost. I really think that if you're not careful, then they can just run the town right into the ground and do whatever they want. So for whatever reason, and I'm not entirely sure why, it just works. So knowing this is why I decided to out and just decided to try and get things going the way of the town, get things going in my book. Personally, as a player, I'm confident enough in my own abilities that I seriously enjoy being a power role. I seriously enjoy setups where I have control, as much control as possible. It's just the kind of player I am. I love being in the hot seat. I love getting it done. That's how I've always, well, not always, but that's how I've liked to play for a very long time now, and I've had major, major success in that role. So I say this is Mafia. Vote him. I'm trying to get the town. I'm trying to not even like really so much convince as to just lead with the power I've established through my claim as cop, my power role. I'm trying to get the town to do what I want, which is to lynch Propensity. Now, this line may confuse some people very quickly, and I'm pretty lazy at this point. If I was smart, I'd wait longer to say this so that it looks like I've actually changed my mind before doing this read. So this is going to take a couple of minutes for me to explain why I did this. So I see that my efforts in order to get Propensity lynched aren't exactly going as planned right now. There's another vote on the table here. I think at this point there's still, oh no, ran unvoted, so there's no votes on me. But so it's not getting done quickly, and time's running out through the day. We're almost 8.5 minutes into the day now. So instead of leading and trying to explain to people why I'm doing this and just try and use a lot of effort and resources and time and energy trying to get people to do what I want them to do, I ask people to self-vote so that I can simply do what I want to do faster. Now, by asking people to self-vote, I can make it look as though I can make it look as though I'm considering another lynch. I can make it look as though I'm going to hammer, well, a Mafia. I mean, if people town read Propensity, then I make it look like I'm trying to get a Mafia lynched through self-voting. At this point, a lot of people did town read Propensity, or they didn't want to lynch him. So I just decided, you know what? I'm confident enough. I'm going to ask for people to self-vote. And if I just said self-vote, it wouldn't have worked or I don't know if it would have worked because people say, oh, he's just doing this so he can hammer Propensity. But I said, okay, I won't hammer Propensity, which this is a big risk for me. If I'm wrong here, then I look like an idiot, and people might not trust me later in the game. Luckily for me, I have the reputation generally in most tables in order for people to trust me more than one hammer. I'm really lucky that I've had the success in the past in order for players to trust me. Not everyone has this luxury. So I play fearlessly. I just decided, you know what, I'm confident, let's do it. Let's try this. So I say, okay, I'm not going to hammer Propensity, self-vote. And then I also say something such as, I was reaction testing, so just to try and further get the town on my side, further to try and get them to believe that I'm not going to hammer Propensity. It was just a reaction test. I don't really want to hammer them. I'm going to hammer outside. I say someone says, ask for claims, please. Brenda says, ask for claims, please. I say, okay, I will. I didn't ask for claims when making this hammer. This was another risk that I did. This is not normally something I do, and this is not something that I endorse. I was just very confident at this time. I was very sure. I don't recommend doing this. This is something I argue against in many of my games and threads, but I didn't do it this time because this person clearly didn't play like the power role. He says, we're not claiming, I'm not claiming. I'm not claiming? Yeah, okay. If you're a power role, you're going to claim. And if you're not a power role, you're going to get hammered at if you claim anything else. So saying I'm not claiming, and as Mafia, the power Mafia strategy, this is another good thing to do. Keeping ambiguity, trying to create some element of doubt in the town and possibly in the clear. If the clear's weak enough or the clear's scared, they don't know exactly what they're doing at this point, and this is also a good thing to do if you're Mafia. However, I fully knew what I was doing. I kept strong. I kept my foot on the gas. So they say, ask for claims, please. I say, okay, I will. I make them confident that I'm going to hammer outside and that I'm going to ask for claims and that I'm going to play into their demands when in reality I'm actually going to play into mine. So I say all self. This line, I'm on CC cop. It's just me trying to get things done faster. Just trying to get the town to do what I want to do faster and quicker, sooner than later. So I think I've covered everything I wanted to say about this section of the game. But yeah, just to sum it all up. There's one more thing. I only waited 6 seconds between the last time I said lift Propensity and okay, I won't hammer Propensity. This is because I was lazy and because the game was running out and I already knew what I wanted to do. The time was running out on the day and I already knew what I wanted to do. There was only about a minute and a half left before kicks at this point in the game. I clearly, if it was a different situation and there's more time left in the day, what I would do is leave more of a space or a chunk of space between here. maybe ask some like fake questions or ask some questions to try and get other reads while you're doing this. Leave some space between the line or the last point where you say you want to lynch this person and the point where you say, or fake saying that you're not fake, that you're not going to do it anymore. You say you're not going to hammer them anymore. 30 seconds to a minute is usually sufficient. Maybe a little longer if you want to be safe. If people are really worried about you, if they're questioning their trust in you and your abilities to get it done, to get Mafia hammered, then wait like 2 minutes maybe if you have the time, luxury. 1.5 to 2 minutes, and it's a lot longer if you act than it feels really. 1.5 to 2 minutes is a long time. It's a very long time in Mafia. So in real time Mafia, I mean. So yeah, so I would leave more space between here just to make it smoother, to leave less elements of doubts or questionable or people questioning trust in the town. So I don't want town to question me. I don't want town to have any doubts. That's the point of leaving time between the two lines that I'm talking about right here. So other than that, I'm pointing at my screen. Other than that, gotta use my cursor. Can't use my fingers in real life to point. Other than that, everything else that I've done here, I fully explained and done the way that I wanted to do. So I get the self votes, and before anyone else can change their mind, I'm confident. I'm not waiting any longer. I have no reason to wait any longer at this point. There's less than a minute left in the day. I'm hammering, and I hammer them off you. The hooker. So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. As a clear, when you're hammering, do not wait to kicks. Do not wait till the last minute unless you need the time, or unless you unless you need the time. Because if you wait longer, people might unvote because they're scared. You might lose your control. You might lose the ability to do this, ability to hammer. If you don't have the ability to hammer, and you lead, people might disagree with you, and you might not get the lynch you want. A no lynch might be forced through chaos, panic at the end of the day because of kicks and people not knowing who were voting. Some people still might be self-voting. Some people might have other thoughts. Some people might have other people they want to lynch. There might not be a communication on who they're going to vote. Someone might vote by accident. Someone might vote without realizing there's kicks. Someone might force the lynch on somebody without realizing it. Someone might force a no lynch or a lynch on a power roll without realizing it, or a power roll claim, or something other than a power roll CC, or a power roll CC. There's tons of factors and elements that might come into play if you wait to kicks. So I hammered with less than a minute left, but still with more than 30 seconds left. So people might not have realized how little time there was left in the day, so that there was minimal chances of people unvoting from self-voting, and there minimal chances of people unvoting and changing their minds and telling other people to unvote. Because because if I waited longer till the 30-second timer or the kicks, they might have been scared and they might have unvoted, and I might not have gotten the lynch I wanted, as I just explained. And also, if I waited any longer, Propensity himself might have unvoted. He was the last person to self-vote, and he was also my hammer, and there was pressure on him earlier. If I'm Propensity, I have good reason. Well, unless I believe Giga, I have good reason to be scared if I'm Propensity, because I was just saying, like, hashing out over and over, lynch Propensity, lynch Propensity, lynch Propensity, and then all of a sudden, 180 out of nowhere, okay, I won't hammer Propensity self-vote. I was reaction testing. Like, I might believe this if I'm Propensity, but again, there's little time between these two lines. That's good reason for me to be worried. Say, is Giga really telling the truth here? He seemed to change his mind very quickly. I'm not sure how honest or how genuine he's really being. So, I took the first opportunity I had. I jumped on it as fast as possible. I pounced on it as quickly as possible. I have no reason to wait at this point. If I wait any longer, something bad might happen, like anything I just explained earlier, including Propensity and voting, or anyone else on voting, or vote switching, or time running out, or somebody kicking, or blitzing on a vote through a kick, or something like that. Any of those things, I don't want any of them to happen, and I'm sure in my lynch, I'm confident in who I'm voting. So the absolute first chance I get, I pounce on Propensity. End the day. I didn't even ask for a claim. which I said again I wouldn't recommend doing. But there were multiple signs during the day that Propensity wasn't a PR. He was asking other people to lead first. He said he wasn't going to claim down here. Where was he? Where was he? He was leading. Very power aggressive Mafia throughout the day. The power role doesn't really do that much. I'm not claiming. We're not claiming like just lines that repeated lines. These are just not lines that a power roll says. Fishing for like power rolls don't normal. Well, sometimes they might say this, but like things like this, like they don't normally rehash over and over and over again, while also being a proprietor of the power aggressive style, all throughout a day of a game. So at this point, there's not much else I really want to show through this game. I've covered the main points I wanted to cover. I'll just quickly show the end result, I suppose. The doctor dies. I out my report because at this point there is still a Miller alive. If I had a guilty, they would have been clear. Hooker's dead, so I get a report. Okay, the doctor died. These two fought each other. I'm pretty sure they're both like. I take some time to get reads at this point. I think it was around here I began filtering, so that means that I was kind of somewhat sure, I guess, what I was going to do. I waited a little longer just because I just want to be sure about my hammer. I mean, I'm going to die. I want to win the game here. I don't want to leave it to a three-way no clears. I do not want a single chance that the game is going to be out of my hands. I want to win the game today so that I know I'm going to be winning it. So that I know that I'm going to win the game. So that I know that I'm in control and that I'm in control of my own destiny, and my own result, and of my own result. So I want to be sure. Akatoro at this point hasn't done too much. I have reason to town read the other three players throughout the game. I'm not really going to go much through this. It's just going to eat up more time in the video. I'm pretty sure. I'm just being somewhat honest at this point, I suppose. I'm not sure why I'm saying things like this. I guess because there's a chance I might be wrong and then I die tomorrow. I'm just going to out the reads that I do have so that people might sheet me or agree with me later in the game. I've given the town a really good reason to sheet and follow me, so I'm just going to give them my reads in case I'm wrong, so that there's a bigger chance that the town will win the game because, I don't know, I guess I'm on point with my reads this game, so my reads are pretty likely to be correct, I suppose, if I'm on point and if I'm playing well and if I'm feeling the game well and I feel like I'm on point with my reads. So, yeah, mounting my reads. I asked for selfless earlier, I think. Yeah, this is the point where I said to myself, I'm probably going to record this game for these reasons. This as well. Did I even ask for self-votes? I didn't ask for self-votes. The day was less than, or just 5.5 minutes. It was just about 5.5 minutes. So I guess I just hammered without asking for self-votes or saying anything, because I guess I was pretty sure. And, yeah, I was right. I won the game that way. So, to sum it all up, power Mafia strategy. Be aware of it. And remember that town might be power aggressive too. You want to be very aware of the power aggressive strategy. It could be town, it could be Mafia, but just look for the clues and try getting it out as much as you can. The hardest thing to do is convincing the other townies. That is the hardest thing to do. Is when you find out if you think they're Mafia or not, convincing the other townies is hardest. Because if you're wrong, there'll be pressure on you in the future days in the game. If you're not a power role, people will have trouble believing you. There might be pressure on you. There might be votes on you or FOSs on you for resisting the person with a power aggressive strategy, the person who's leading in the game. It's very difficult sometimes to get it through, to get it across. But I used my reputation, my role that I had, and my general my general understanding of the game and what's happening through the game to get it done. And I didn't bother explaining too much here because I knew I was a power role. If I explained a lot, I feel like like Propensity might have countered or found other bullshit to cover up for his original bullshit, and then people might have lost track, and they might have like not known who to believe or not known that it was bullshit, and not have gone back to fully reread it because there wouldn't have been much time left in the day at that point, and they still have to focus on everyone else's reads, and no one had claimed at that point. So there's so many factors that go into what I did, and you just have to kind of gut it out and feel out what you think you should be doing when you recognize a Mafia with a power aggressive strategy. Take into consideration how people view you at the table. Take into consideration what role you have. Are you a power role? Can you claim later in the game and fall back on that if pressure goes on you? If pressure is not on you, I do not recommend claiming a power role because then you're outed and you'll be hooked, and Mafia can kill you later in the game. But yeah, so like taking into consideration your role. Are you a non-power role? Or are you a power role? Are you can you be saved if you're outed? Yeah, like if you're the doctor, you can't be saved. If you are, but if you're sure enough, then it's worth outing, I suppose. Or if you have pressure on you, then you out. If you don't have pressure on you, you don't out. If you're a doctor, because you'll die. So if there's pressure on you as doctor, out. If there's no pressure on you as doctor, don't out, because then you'll die, and the cop will be vulnerable, and there'll be a chance the cop is hooked the next day as well. Because the Mafia will know that you're the doctor, and they'll focus their killing efforts, not their hooking efforts, on you. So they'll kill you, they won't hook you. So yeah, sorry about that aside. Take into consideration your power, your role, your reputation, how well this player, the player that you're pushing against is or the power aggressive player is manipulating the town, how well they're doing it, how aggressive they're being, how powerful they're being, how well they're inducing or influencing other members of the town. All of these things, and along with the actions of the day too, like certain lines, votes, unvotes, all of these things play a factor, or should factor in rather, into what you do, and into the choices you make when attempting to eliminate the village of a power aggressive Mafia. That's all for today. I'm Giga13. Thank you for watching. Comments or questions on YouTube or the forums. Thank you very much. Have a good day.